Hello and welcome back to the NanYang Championship Season 2. We're going to be taking a look at game number 2 here between VG Gaming Reborn and Warriors Gaming Unity. I'm Lyrical, joined as well by Basecamp. Sir, we saw a little bit of a crazy one last time. Same bands this time around, but it's going to be a Lion first pick for Warriors Gaming Unity. How are you doing? Do you think we're going to see a drow?
I don't think so. I think VG Gaming Reborn might just leave it in the pool, and if Warriors Gaming Unity go for it, they'll probably still have something up their sleeve to deal with it if it does end up happening. And yeah, like you mentioned, this draft is actually... Wait, was Blind the first pick in the previous game as well? Is this exactly the same draft?
I feel like it might have been. I'm not exactly sure. Well, alright. Apparently Warriors Gaming Unity felt like the problem was not with their first couple of picks at the very least.
Yeah, I think Lion is still such a good all-around support. People stopped talking about him a little bit because of Disruptor, having a really good record at the major, and then also doing very well through the qualifiers. But Lion is definitely up there as sort of supports this patch. But VG Gaming Reborn, they're not going to fish for any information or anything. They're just going to lay their cards out on the table. Void, Terrorblade also completely gives away where the Void is going. He's offlane. Terrorblade safe lane, and the challenge as it's presented right now to Warriors Gaming Unity is just to come up with something that beats this, and then I think somewhat they have to outplay VG Gaming Reborn a little bit as well. So I feel like VG.R are just the more solid team overall.
That's the thing that's really tough about it too, is I'm looking at this lineup and it just shows that VG Gaming Reborn have that confidence going into it that they're going to be able to beat Warriors Gaming Unity even if they show all of their cards. It's like, we're going to do this and you're not going to be able to deal with it. So given that that's already there, and Lion is kind of an okay answer to Terrorblade in his own right, with being able to burn through those illusions, what else can they go for here to try and deal with this? Naturally wave clear, but do you think about like a strong single target burst possibly outside of just the Lion?
Yeah, I think something like Timbersaw could be alright for them. Void can be pretty annoying for Timber to deal with the time dilation, but just something to put more pressure on this TB. I think the Batrider kind of fits that role as well. Jump in with a lasso, get the burst from the line, maybe you can focus him down somewhat early on. The complication is going to be, I think right now VG Gaming Reborn already have the much better 5-man. So if they just 5-man, that's where Batrider could look a little bit weak once things really get rolling.
Yeah.
And I feel like VG already have a fairly straightforward game plan in terms of, all right, they've got the Terrorblade, similar to WoW, they're going to take that early offlane tower, that's going to get them a bit of gold, and maybe switch over to another lane. They've still got tons of room to add some pick-off heroes to their lineup potentially if they desire. You could even see like an Invoker in there as well. I think this is already looking like a decent Invoker game, either QE or QW. You can either have great Tornado counter initiation against the Batrider, or you can have some Sunstrike on top of your Faceless Void, so we'll see what they go for.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a couple of bans here, so if VG Gaming Reborn wanted to go for that, they could take it out of the pool. I still really like that Timber ban that you were talking about. Granted, it's not quite as... I guess it's still pretty relevant, because if you get it like a Batrider lasso, then you're going to be able to pull him back into Chakram and all of that nice little bit of burst damage, but I always feel like Timber is... Oh, okay, they're going to take out the Zaki Enchantress. He's sort of notorious for this, but I'm not sure if it's the thing that I'd be the most worried about.
They're going to put something, judging by their bans, they're going to put something gankable in the mid lane. So they're trying to get rid of all the best gankers that would be putting pressure on mid. So getting rid of the Earth Spirit, getting rid of the Enchantress, very much seems to suggest that they're going to put something mid lane that doesn't have an escape. And that could be the Invoker, potentially. So I think if Warriors Gaming Unity want to get rid of it, they have to get rid of it soon. I'm not actually sure if Mikasa is much of an Invoker player, actually, so I guess that's the one question.
He tends to play those more like the Queen of Pain, the Templar Assassin, those types of heroes.
Oh yeah, but
I don't know. What do you think about that Oracle? Another one that's sort of survivability, trying to keep them alive. Is it a DP that they might be looking for as well to double up with the push and the Terrorblade?
I think the Death Prophet could be quite good. Of course, very good with the Oracle, very good with the Void. I don't really see anything bad about it here. I mean, there is some burst damage from the Lion, but if you're bursting the DP, then you're not bursting the Terrorblade, so you got issues on both fronts there. And Warriors Gaming Unity just end up getting rid of the Phoenix, which could have been a little bit annoying. It is definitely strong with the Faceless Void, but I feel like we know what VG Gaming Reborn's plan is right now, and thus far I feel like Warriors Gaming Unity's draft has just been about try and counteract what VG Gaming Reborn are trying to do. So I'd really like to see them start to show us what their strategy is going to be and how they're hoping to win this game. 2-11's not a bad start.
Yeah, I mean it does sort of answer the Terrorblade. Do you think that has to be their strategy, something along the lines of a hero that just becomes impossibly hard to deal with, like a Morphlane, or do you think it's more along the lines of trying to be a split pushing that team lineup that would benefit them more?
I think something like a Slark could do reasonably well here. There's just the Faceless Void to lock down. It gives you a little bit of split push, but it also gives you reasonable team fight up to a certain point. You can jump on the Oracle in the back lines as well, which isn't too bad. I like the Winter Wyvern pickup here for a couple of reasons. The Splinter Blast is really good for defending against the TB and just spamming things out, and like kind of touched on, the Cold Embrace as well is also really good, but VG's response is going to be this FY Kunkka.
Very interesting. Well, a number of things here. It's not the greatest as far as like
10 seconds
being able to have a great set. I guess the Oracle Fortune's End, that's what they're going to probably be doing, is going for the eHome Classic. And I would imagine that what this is also going to mean is they're going to have a mid laner that can either A, go back to jungle, or B, move in to try and take a tower, and then Kunkka takes over the mid lane and tries to go for like the maxing Tidebringer build. And then he just gets points in Torrent early and then sets up the game with the Oracle Fortune's End.
Yeah, FY has a really strange position for Kunkka. He goes for pretty much every game he goes for the Phase Boots Armlet build with the maxed out Tidebringer, as opposed to some other people who go for the more early points in X, more early points in Torrent. Some people go for like 8th lens early on, things like that, but whatever they put mid lane, I think it's going to be very difficult to kill. You've got Rum Buff, you've got False Promise, Chronosphere as well to potentially help people out, and for Warriors Gaming, they just grab a Jug here, which is certainly not bad, but I don't know what's really amazing about the Jug. I think the other big issue is that Jug as a hero is very much focused on, you get into the fight, drop your Omni Slash, and somebody dies. A person dies without using any of their abilities, really. You take them out of the fight instantly, and I feel like that's just going to be impossible against the VG.R lineup, so I'm not really a fan of this Jug.
Well, there's also another weird interaction. I don't know how it works when you're against the Jug or not, but I was watching a lot of the eHome Keen games, and obviously eHome Keen, they sort of were one of the squads that was developing the Kunkka coming into the Chinese meta, where it was Lanham running it, who was originally doing that, like, the phase armlet stuff with the Kunkka. Yep. And what they would do is they would have a Kunkka X marks the spot the Jug, and then he would jump forward and spin, and he could still get pulled back by the X. Now that was when they were allies. I don't know if that still works with an enemy Jug or not. I'm not sure if that dynamic is still there, but you could still see that, where I don't know if an X actually still pulls back an enemy Jug or not. It does with the Jug being on the same team, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, I feel like it shouldn't. I feel like it also shouldn't, I guess should for allies. I'm not actually sure.
That's the only thing that's weird.
Dota's a weird game, huh?
That's the thing about it, is that it's such a, and the other thing was that you couldn't cast X on the Juggernaut, so I'm not sure if the return pierces BKB, like if that's the dynamic there or not, but it's something to keep your eyes out for in this game, is how that interaction works, because I haven't seen a Kunkka against a Jug yet.
Yeah, I definitely know that you can't X BKB people. If they BKB as the X tries to pull them back, they just won't go. So I feel like the interaction is going to be that Jug is just going to spin and away he goes. But I guess we'll see. I'm 95% sure, but with that allied thing as well, we'll Well, I guess wait. Can he X mark BKB allies back? I can't even remember. I'm gonna have to go and test this in the lobby after this game.
Kunkka is such a weird hero.
He's definitely a weird hero. But some other things to mention this game: Kunkka good against the Winter Wyvern because if you cold embrace somebody, you can always just torrent right on top of that, get an easy combo. Also, if you're super sick, it's also good against the Bat Rider because if your ally gets lasso, then all you do is you just X them, and then Bat Rider drags them away, and then you just pull them right back. So that's something else to look out for here. And Warriors Gaming&Unity just gonna round things out with a Morphling. Alright, so we saw this kind of earlier today, decent against the Airblade and Shadow Fiend to select for VG.R.
It's Mikasa. He loves those old school heroes running the mid lane, and it's cool to see it. That's a lot of early roaming potential where if Oracle ends up getting that false promise down, I mean, the Juggernaut mid, it definitely helps because you're going to be able to at least mitigate some of the problems that you get just by being able to have that Blade Fear away. And they really had to run that. So I think the Morphling pick and then running the Juggernaut mid is the good answer. Maybe you're just going to end up seeing Kunkka play a little bit more of like a stacking role and trying to mess with the off lane.
Yeah, I think the only issue with Warriors his lineup right now is that if the Bat Rider doesn't have a decent start, I feel like nobody really moves around and does anything. Winter Wyvern and Lion can kind of rotate a little bit. And, Lion's also a decent ganking here, but everything really rests on the Bat Rider to get things going. And to that end, they are going to set him up right from the start. Smoke, he TP's out. Looks like he's going to go and block the pull camp and, make sure that he gets his immediate level 2 here on the offlane more or less. So is he actually going deep? So what's the plan here, Wen?
Oh, please don't go anywhere crazy. Okay, he's gonna end up placing down that sentry ward. All right, that's decent. We'll get spotted here, maybe. Oh, he's hiding. The pings from the Winter Wyvern, but I think that he's gonna be fine.
Yeah, it looks like I think he's just gonna stay in there until he tries to steal the creep wave potentially.
Yeah, that was the same thing that... I think that this was the same spot that we saw Void go to yesterday with KP, was that they would go over here and then try and steal the creep wave after the fact, but it looks like End might realize this is happening. Is he gonna
Quelling Blade? Away.
He thinks that Wen might be there. Oh my god.
Is he gonna
They might find him.
He's watching him Quelling Blade these trees. He's like, what is going on? How does he know that I'm here?
Alright, well that was scary. That's a I mean, I don't think that they would have been able to kill Wen regardless.
No,
but
of course not.
It's a little bit inside the head already. Alright, Torrent lift up, ends up going for the Earth Spike. Shadow Fiend gets the top one, and Jug able to get the bottom one. So trade-off even for now. And Mikasa going for that early point Necro Mastery. We'll see if Jug's going to be able to deny out a decent chunk of these creeps.
Yeah, he does have the poor man shield, so should be able to a little bit. Looks like Afu is going to throw an immediate Arctic Burn onto the Shadow Fiend as well here mid, potentially. No, okay, he's actually just heading straight to the offlane. No. Okay, now he's coming back. Can't side.
Oh.
Do it.
Alright, we might need to do another switcheroo again. Oh my god, I'm so sorry about this. Are you getting pretty decent everything?
Yeah, no, I'm fine right now.
Oh my god.
We can swap over again.
Alright, we'll swap over one more time. I'm sorry, guys. Oh, it's good timing. Alright, we're gonna take down the stream. See you in a bit.
Oh, wait.
Maybe it's not just me. Yeah, we'll switch over. We'll see you guys in a second. Alright, good to go.
Alright, welcome back everybody. And we're still paused, so we didn't miss anything. Good stuff.
It's the perfect timing. Yeah, Winter Wyvern ended up disconnecting right there. We've had a couple of disconnects that have also affected VG Gaming&Reborn, obviously. This time around, it's Warriors Gaming&Unity that lose their Winter Wyvern. Let me check over on the Chinese stream real quick to see if there's any type of serious issue. As we're sort of going into this, is there anything else that you feel like... The Shadow Fiend is kind of a weird pick. We don't end up seeing him a ton. What's your read on what they're hoping to get out of Mikasa here in the mid lane?
I think part of it is that they just want the A combo with the Fist's Void. I think the other thing goes a little bit underestimated as well, damage reduction on Requiem, and Morphling and Jug both pretty much only build stat-based damage. these days. So the Requiem, once it connects, is actually going to cut their damage in half, and that's going to make it very, very difficult for them to kill anybody on VG.Reborn between the Rum buff and the Requiem of Souls. So I think that's mostly what they're going for here. I think it's also just a decent game for the Shadow Fiend because they know that they can kind of keep him alive between the Oracle and the Kunkka. And that's sort of the only real problem with Shadow Fiend at the moment, is that he's vulnerable to being ganked, and then past a certain point he's also a little bit squishy. But if you can solve that, I feel like they're in a good spot.
What do you think about the Dragon Lance on him? Is that sort of one of the items that we're gonna see come back into prominence a little bit with this guy?
I think he definitely gets it this game since he's got Void on his team.
Okay.
Just wants to be able to reach into the Chrono and do good damage. The Aghanim Scepter is also quite good in terms of like just looking at the stats and looking at the numbers. It's a pretty efficient or reasonably efficient damage item for Shadow Fiends, so maybe we'll see that. Bat Rider in trouble.
Torrent gonna come out, that's gonna connect, and a quick right click and a kill. They end up being able to find it, and that's the combination that they're looking for.
Yeah, I guarantee you one is thinking, why is the Kunkka in the river? Why? How is he there cutting me off already? But this is just how FY plays. Never really tied down to one lane. Sitting around. Looks like his Observer Ward is not going to be long for life here as he puts it down right on top of a sentry.
The most dangerous Winter Wyvern in the world is gonna try and wrap around here to see if he can mess with Mikasa. Needs to be a little bit careful. They might just go to dive this, and yeah, this is gonna be a kill. Unfortunately, obviously, you're not gonna be able to find a great ability to save him as a Kunkka there. But not the worst thing in the world. And, you know, I was sort of mentioning about this as the game goes on. Eventually, FY can take over this lane when Shadow Fiend goes into the jungle. So, I still think that they're in a pretty decent position here.
Yeah, the one nice thing for FY as well is that he doesn't really... There's not a whole lot of incentive to go and stack the jungle, really, because if he stacks it, he's just going to make it harder for the Shadow Fiend to clear later. So he just gets to kind of run around, do his own thing, and then he'll still probably get the jungle later on. Might stack up the medium camp or something. It's already Mud Golem, so it's already not a great start for old SF. So the Kunkka could also clear this himself slowly with the Tidebringer.
Yeah, or just, I mean, honestly, drop the boat. It's on a low enough cooldown, why not?
Yeah.
That's something that we have occasionally seen. Yang taking a little bit of damage here is going to be forced back. There was Mana Drain taken for Lion instead of going for the Hex. Just trying to mess with Yang. It's a nice another way to try and find a kill on the Faceless Void eventually.
Yeah, I mean, Yang, the thing that he's really doing here is he's just finding super efficient regen trades, right? He's already chewed through all the Lion's regen and still has 3 tangos for himself, so the constant time walk usage is really working well. They didn't end up dewarding this Observer. I guess that was because they went for the kill on the Shadow Fiend and the sentry didn't have a whole lot of duration left. FY just comes in for one Tidebringer hit and then away he goes.
Oh, that's good stuff. Yeah, he went for the Torrent but wasn't able to find it, and I feel like already off to a decent start here. You take a look, the Shadow Fiend, fairly far behind Nana, is going to end up being able to take out the healing ward right there, but for Mikasa, how big of a concern is it getting off to a good start? Does he have to really get a lot here, or is it sort of something where he can resolve to going back to the jungle later?
I think he can catch back up a little bit later on. He's going to get spun down here and die on mid lane.
Yang
so
is going to end up taking a good hit here as well, and they're going to be able to take a tier 1 bottom potentially off of this. Yeah, it's just, he just ran in it by Nana?
He just phase bootsed in and just spun him to death. Nothing really all that fancy about it. The Shadow Fiend has, I mean, he's got a Windlace, but he didn't have his boots just yet. Looks like he's getting some stuff delivered in a courier. Pretty easy for the Jug to run him down.
Oh, bottom lane, another 2-person spike, and Ajit very low, not dead as of yet. It's going to end up trying to go for the waveform away. So Morphling gets out. It's going to end up going for the salve afterwards, and now they're going to try and chase down FY. There's the Earth Spike to follow up. Yang is there. Trading hits a couple of times, but FY is going to die. So getting a little bit too fanciful there.
I like the way that Yang plays so much. He just believes that he's going to get the bash every time. There's never any question. Looks like he's going to die now, but like running forward onto the Morphling there. Knew that he still had some strength left to morph up, but alright. They're going to attempt on the tier 1 tower top. Looks like the Bat Rider is going to be able to force them back, at least temporarily, but that was a good little little change for WG, and Doug once again trying to dive onto this Shadow Fiend. Almost got the Omni Slash off.
Yeah, it's a very dangerous and scary position to be in for Mikasa, who's level 5 right now, to the Nana Juggernaut, who's been able to almost get level 7. As this goes on, I mean, you don't want to get off to a bad start for the Juggernaut. They're going to try and go for the Torrent. Is going to be able to steal this rune. FY, a little bit cheeky with it, and is going to get ran down. Tries to TP out, should be able to make his escape. So, nice little play there from FY.
I love that he wasn't even looking at the Torrent. He just put it down. He knew that the Jug was running in because of this dire Observer Ward that they've got over on the hill. And then Kunkka just casually picks up the rune and TP's out. Away he goes. That was nice. Yang still making space bottom. At least the Shadow Fiend has his boots now, so it's not going to be quite so easy to run down. But a rotation from either the Lion or the Winter Wyvern could still kill him pretty easily. So we might see Afu with his next Arctic Burn swinging over towards mid.
Yeah, it's maybe the play for him. They're still trying to pressure in this bottom tier 1 tower. The Torrent is going to hit. Oh, Ajit, this is not what you want to have happen, and he's going to end up jumping forward, and they get the bash for the kill. FY is going to be able to make that happen, and with that he was able to drop the Chronosphere as well. Oh no, that's another kill going their way as Zaki is going to get brought maybe down. Can they actually finish it off? Yeah, they are going to be able to. So, 2 quick ones going back into VG.R's favor. Nicely played.
Yeah, that's really nice. Especially getting the kill on the Morph. That's actually quite a lot of golden experience lining their pockets. So Kunkka already almost has his phase boots picked up. And FY well on the way with his build.
Alright, well TPs are coming up towards the top lane. Zaki wants to be here and a part of this to try and mess with the end Shadow, or rather Terrorblade, as Juggernaut just finds again Mikasa. This has just been a very tough match for him. Nana is going to end up bottling up and trying to run away. FY seeing if he can find a kill, but they're going to turn on to FY now. Oh man, and DDC also in a lot of trouble. The Courier goes down for the Radiant, but I think that they're still going to end up being able to take down DDC here. As this is just such a difficult game right now. Triple for Nana at 8 minutes in.
That's rough. I wonder if, I guess VG.R... No, when they picked, they knew that it was going to be the Jug mid. I guess Mikasa just thought that he was going to be okay. That double damage at 2 minutes did kind of swing the lane a little bit, but I feel like he's still kind of... he's gotten pretty messed up by the Jug even after that.
I mean, Shadow Fiend is about to hit level 7, but Nana is almost going to hit level 9, and they've just kind of left him on an island a little bit, I feel like. At a certain point, you got to try and rotate one of these other heroes there, and Oracle has been moving around a little bit, but considering that how much the Terrorblade has gotten, I was hoping that maybe we're going to see a little bit more stacking and trying to get that level 6 so we could keep Shadow Fiend alive.
Yeah, also the jungle just got cleaned out by the Terrorblade, so there isn't anything left for old Mikasa here. In terms of what he does now, I think he just tries to tank up, right? So he maybe picks up some treads, maybe picks up the Ogre Club for his Dragonlance early on. Jug just gonna come here for one more touch mid lane, just asserting his dominance, but yeah, he needs to tank up as much as he can.
Alright, so we've still been talking about how difficult this has been for Mikasa. The Terrorblade, is he going to be able to carry them through some of this? Like, are we going to start to see a few more of the towers fall now that the tier 1 top has already gone down?
I think so. I think the TB is still somewhat hard to address if you're Warriors gaming here. They'd love to get Zaki on the move and go and find a kill on the TB with the Finger of Death, but End is like huddled up all the way over as far as he can on the Dire side of the map right now, so it's going to be very difficult to find a kill on him. The one question in this game, I think, is whether or not Shadow Fiend goes for a mech. It was a very popular build on Shadow Fiend for quite some time, and it's also a really good item to have on your team when you've got when you're running an Oracle, to be able to get the double heal off the False Promise. So it is something that Mikasa could go for here. He is a little bit of an old school player as well, like we've been talking about, so could be something that he considers. I would like to see it grabbed, actually. pick up lots of efficient items, mech, Dragonlance, maybe your Ags, BKB if you feel that you're just getting bursted too hard.
Definitely. That seems like it could be a cool way to play that. And I'm looking now as they are all roaming through the jungle and seeing if they could find somebody mid, but nobody's going to show up here. They moved into Roshan, the side of Warriors Gaming Unity, and it looks like Juggernaut, after the invis is going to wear off, is going to go on to Mikasa again, drops down the Chronosphere. Mikasa caught it as well, and can they actually finish him off in time? Oh god, Yang ends up getting hit there by the Winter's Curse. Torrent falling it back up. Cold Embrace at the last second, keeping him alive, and is going to end up falling finally. So they take down that Juggernaut that's been so difficult to deal with, and Shadow Fiend got the kill, so a nice little boon for him.
Yeah, it's definitely very nice pick up, and VG.R looks like they should be able to truck through this tower as well. The Batride is going to come in, but no blink, just the drum. Tries to lay down a bit of Firefly. Can't really do it.
And FY is going to keep them at bay as well. I mean, he's got his level 6 up, so if they next time a Chronosphere comes out, he's going to toss that boat on into it, and it's going to cause some issues.
This is pretty neat. I think Yang is actually going for a first item Lincoln Sphere here. I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like it's a pretty solid item in this game. Helps keep his initiation safe, but also if they get to the point where they're just high ground sieging with the Terrorblade, he can always just pop the Lincolns onto him and help keep him a little bit safe against the Batrider. It's not 100% guaranteed. Splinter Blast is a really long range way to pretty reliably pop Lincoln Sphere, so we'll see what he goes for, but I don't know what else this Ring of Health would end up being built into.
Could he go for the Vanguard Radiance build himself if he wanted to? Is that something that's possible for offlane Void, or is it... I don't know.
He's got Vanguard.
Oh, alright.
Alright, Poor Man's Shield and Vanguard. I don't know why he would bother going for Radiance this game, because he's got so much damage from the Shadow Fiend and the Terrorblade. I don't really know that he needs to be much of a right clicker, but he could. I guess it is still a very annoying build to deal with. He's pretty much unkillable now, I think, for the next 15-20 minutes.
Well, it might harken to the way that Shadow Fiend wants to play this, although he is going for what looks to be Helmet Dominator on Shadow Fiend. I don't expect that this is an armlet, but in this meta, you never know.
Could be a Veil, Kunkka.
Huh, that'd be neat. I wouldn't mind. That'd be pretty cool. Let's have the Aquila up. It looks like they're going to be going for a bit of a play now onto Yang. He's going to be jumped upon, but the False Promise, keeping him alive for the moment, tries to TP out, but is going to be brought back. So that should be a kill as he pops to the Morphling in the end. And Nana trying to chase down DDC. He's pretty swift and almost going to be able to find him. If they wanted to, they could go for a Torrent counter initiation, but they're just going to call it off for now. So 700 gold swing into their favor. More importantly, though, it's still the Morphling getting fairly farmed. He's right up there with the Terrorblade.
Yeah, doing pretty well. It looks like the Morphling is going to have a pretty good game here. You know, normally a bit of a slow starter, but 2 kills, plenty of CS. I think his game is more or less secured. Nana with a big dive here.
Oh my god.
Out. Gets it.
FY dropped very low after that one, but they were not able to find the kill. So Finger of Death down and Omni Slash as well. This might be a moment where VG.R could think about going for something of their own. Do you think it's not really a point where they're going to be able to go for Roshan, I guess?
Probably not. They do have the... So they did end up going for the HOTD on the Shadow Fiend, so he's just going to be jungle farming a little bit. They could dominate a creep to go and help tank Rosh. I mean, they've got the Faceless Void as well if they want to try and take it, but just buildings online right now. Warriors Gaming gonna come in and try and push mid, but FY is already here to defend. This could get ugly.
Oh, boat, Torrent combo, lifts up the Batrider, gonna be able to catch him, and a lot of damage dealt there onto Wen. They aren't gonna be able to find the kill as of yet, but they do have the X combo. Yang still chasing, Purifying Flames, maybe gonna be enough to actually drop the Chronosphere for him, and I mean, he's gonna die, but I guess Chrono down? I don't know.
Yeah, that was a pretty big investment. I think they could have let the X marks the spot run a little bit longer and got Shadow Fiend into a better position to drop raises as soon as the X mark came back, but kill's a kill, and still getting some good damage on bottom.
Oh my god, Ajit tries to chase him down here, but the 4 heroes from VG.R are going to start showing up for this one, but guess what? No Chronosphere, a little bit unfortunate. Zaki going to get caught. They could go for an X play here if they get close enough. Torrent not going to connect, but Afu is going to be in trouble, and I'm assuming going to fall here. as they get the cold embrace, but that's a couple raises for the kill, and Oracle gets it with the Purifying Flames.
That was a very profitable couple of minutes for VG.R. They killed the bat, they killed the 2 sports, they got the tower. Looks like kind of managed to hold on to the map themselves as well. I'm sure more was getting too far. Lincoln is alright. I mean, it's always decent on Morphling because it lets you just stay out on the map constantly and accelerates your farm, but there's nothing crazy to really block here. I mean, maybe you save yourself from getting X marked, but kind of the extent of it. I guess Thunder as well is the other big thing to worry about.
That's, I mean, it does feel like maybe sometimes Morphlanes get bottlenecked into that and just sort of, you know, go on autopilot or whatever, a la Medusa. But it's still decent. I mean, stats are good and all that stuff. I really like the Dragonlance Morphlane that we saw. I think, was it earlier today that we saw that, or it might have been yesterday? But it was
no, it was earlier today. I think it was Resolution's Morphling. He ended up going Lincoln's, but he went Perseverance Dragonlance and then back. Sure.
That was pretty cool. I like that stuff. Void now saving 1,000 gold for himself. We do also have Mikasa regen rune in hand, ready to continue farming out the enemy jungle. As far as net worth is concerned, I mean, they've built themselves 5,000 gold over those past couple of minutes. What do you feel like is the Mikasa build? To me, this is a lot about farming, but what is he trying to farm towards? Like, what's the big item for him where he's going to feel tanky enough to start taking on some of these heroes from Warriors Gaming Unity?
I think he's just going for a somewhat plain clicking build this game, so probably like, I don't know if this Yasha is going to be a Manta or an S&Y, but probably just tank up, get like a Manta Scotty kind of a deal. If he has to, he might get the opportunity to like jam a big damage item in somewhere along the way, like pick up a Daedalus, potentially, since he can go back for a Satanic for survivability. But looks like he's just going straight right here, nothing too crazy. And kind of all of VG.R just kind of settling back into farm. I mean, the Void already 1,500 gold up. Whereas Unity, same kind of story for them. The Juggernaut's going back for a Battle Fury now as well. This could become a pretty farm-heavy game.
And you can see also now that CYF and Nana are he's going to head off on his other way and try and clear out these creep camps. And farming is definitely the name of the game for now. I still do think that this timing window for VG.R, once the Terrorblade gets maybe one more item, it's going to be really hard for Warriors Gaming Unity to deal with. Like, they've got ways to defend high ground, particularly the Winter Wyvern seems like it's a great one. But I do wonder, as the game goes on and ages start to get picked up, how do you deal with this lineup?
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. I think especially if the Terrorblade gets a BKB, then the only way that you can reverse him is to get a full duration Omni Slash off on him, but that's just never going to happen. There's always going to be illusions, there's always going to be teammates nearby, so he could even just skip the BKB if he wanted to, just go straight and tanking up, pick up the Scotty next year, depending on how farmed they're going to be and how... I guess it depends on what the Void's going for. If he is going back for the Radiance, then they're probably going to be waiting a little while, and he might be able to just go for a slightly greedier item. But it depends on what the call from the Void is. And
I mean, in a way, you have the sort of 4 cores essentially, with Kunkka now finishing off an armlet, and you take a look at the damage that comes from Tidebringer. It's a bonus 85. That's pretty absurd. It's like a whole damage item in and of itself. So if he is continuing to be able to get farm fairly aggressively across the map, I could see VG.R sort of taking a stranglehold on this game late style.
Yeah, just poking and prodding here a little bit. Morphling does have his Ghost Scepter up, so he's gonna have his Ethereal Blade in a little while, but what is the Shadow Fiend gun for? I think I saw a Mytho Hammer picked up for him on the Courier, so it looks like he's just going right back for BKB here. So maybe they're going BKB time on the Terrorblade. He's got the Ultimate Orb. Okay, so BKB on the Shadow Fiend, body for Terrorblade. Pushing in aggressively here.
Well, Kunkka looking to see if he can catch Afu and is going to be able to run in there. There's the Torn X combo and going to pull him back in towards it, and the Cold Embrace keeping him alive for a moment, but DD Rune over on Juggernaut. Looks like Afu should go down here. They don't want to have to drop the Chronosphere for this, but there's a quick combo and they end up being able to take him down. And now, if they wanted to, I mean, they're even thinking about at least threatening high ground. Nobody is back home right now. Wen is the only one here. They buy back on the Winter Wyvern, going for the, I assume is going to be the Winter's Curse, and yeah, you see that the rest of the side of VG Gaming Reborn, they all back out after that.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
They didn't quite manage to force them back. Ajit's still sticking around here on the mid lane, but his replicate's actually timed out. Alright, looks like he's going to be okay.
FY still looking, but not going to be able to find him. They are still here with Nana as well. And almost level 15, that DD rune up and online. And the Battle Fury completed as well. Oh man, if they actually end up being able to find him here, that would be so frustrating. Nah, he's going to TP out.
Alright, so with that, VG.R just head right into it. They have a lot of vision. They do have vision where it counts. They can see that the Winter Wyvern and the Lion are still miles away. I'm not heading over towards the pit, so it looks like just a free Roshan going to be picked up. Yang still just banking up gold, 2.9k.
I mean, I would assume that this is going to be for the Radiance, but it's kind of weird because you've got him going for
now
Radiance.
He's got diffusal components.
Okay, all right. I was going to say, like, it didn't make sense in the context of, you know, the Terrorblade going, or not the Terrorblade, excuse me, the Shadow Fiend going for VKB, because that's an item where it's like we want to try and push and make stuff happen right now, whereas Radiance, I feel like it's much more about farming. So I feel like they're all on the same page now, and with, you know, Armlet FY, maybe they start to try and actually take high ground.
Yeah, I think the big reason that the Terrorblade doesn't actually go for the BKB is because he knows that he's going to be the one carrying the Aegis, so there isn't really a whole lot of a point. If they were going to give the Aegis to somebody else, I think you would potentially see the BKB on him, but he's pretty close to the Scotty now, and yeah, and even just going to pop the Metamorphosis here to chunk down this tier 2. He doesn't have a teammate for miles, but Warriors Gaming Unity just can't do anything about it.
That is really depressing that they don't even have a great way to stop that. You have FY that's over here to the side and can try and go on to Wen if you wanted to. He's going to end up going for the X. There's the Torrent. Ship is coming in as well. That's going to pull him back, and a lot of damage is going to be dealt out here. Mikasa also, and they find the kill. It's just easy as pie.
Yeah, it's disgusting to see how VG Gaming Reborn know they can play so split up. Looks like they're going to get a little bit punished for it here. Yang getting jumped. Get brought down.
So they do pay for at least a little bit.
Yeah.
But we'll see how this goes. It would like to see a little bit of a group up, but now with the Scotty online, Terrorblade is very difficult to deal with. You do have Afu who's going to scout out the Oracle here. If he runs up to high ground and Terrorblade happens to spot him, that could be a dead Winter Wyvern.
Yeah, the illusion gets onto him here, and it looks like he's dead.
Yeah, there was no way. He's just taken down right there. A quick and easy kill. Now the rest of the side of Warriors Gaming Unity trying to run away from them. FY is still here, does have his X if anybody happens to fall in line, but not going to be able to get him.
So it was important for Warriors Gaming to get that pick off on the Faceless Void. I think especially just to show VG Gaming Reborn that they can't just walk all over them in terms of the lanes, right? They had 2 people bottom, 2 people top, and 1 person solo pushing mid, and it kind of looked like they were going to get away with it, but Warriors Gaming Unity showing that you can't mess with them that easily. Aegis is still up for another 2 minutes, so Vici would very much like to get all these lanes pushed out and maybe take 1 swipe at the base, if possible, but you can see Warriors Gaming just pushing as hard as they can in every lane.
And the E-Blade now up for Ajit as well. This is a pretty good answer, but they do still have that BKB up for the Shadow Fiend, and I'm starting to wonder at this point, you know, how do you take down both the Terrorblade twice and the Shadow Fiend in the midst of all of this? The Chronosphere is still available as well. What are they going to be looking for here? Is it just a big Winter's Curse coming out?
I don't think they're going to get the opportunity to get a big Winter's Curse. honestly. That probably need to get onto the back lines. If they could smoke the Batrider and the Winter Wyvern and sort of get them around the side, then I think they could find some kind of an opportunity, but VG.R just aren't going to group up.
And ends up going back to Sunder onto Nana. The right clicks are there as well, and not going to be able to get it as of yet. DDC dropping low, but not dead from that Winter's Curse. They end up waveforming back for the moment. Tier 3 tower still under fire, and they are going to be able to take that down with a combination of Mikasa and End. Now also a little bit of an adaptive strike there. Hasn't ended up committing the E-Blade as of yet. That's a broken linkage, and now the Chronosphere drop down onto 3. All of them going to be taken down. The lift up with the Torrent, the boat's there as well, and they're going to end up having all of that run buff onto Nana. It's just going to end up dropping. They don't have any answer in the least bit. Nana gets away, but this is going to be a lane of racks. Easy. Terrorblade does fall, but that's just the Aegis and the melee going down. They should be able to escape from this one, and a little bit of trouble. Hex, it's not dead as of yet, and there's the Requiem of Souls that comes out. They are still slowed. Oracle is dead, but he was able to get off that Fall Promise, and now Ajit in a lot of trouble as well. They X him back. He's going to end up being pulled back into this one, but still very tanky, and Yang in a lot of trouble. He does go down as well, so they pay for it at least a little bit. Mikasa ends up being able to TP out. Saki didn't catch eyes on him and actually didn't have the Earth Spike, so a 2-for-1 exchange in the end, but more importantly, the melee barracks are down.
Money changes hands.
Yeah, and that looked pretty straightforward for VG.Reborn. I think the big thing that we saw that fight is just how good those run buff is against Juggernaut. He came in, he Omni-Slashed, he got the whole Omni-Slash off. I think it was mostly on heroes, didn't bounce to too many illusions or anything like that, but it just did absolutely nothing. A lot of it was on the Terrorblade, granted, who's got 30 plus armor at this stage, but the Jug is starting to fall off a little bit. He does have a lot of gold banked, so he's going to get some items relatively soon, but I wonder if he has to go for something a bit more aggressive than just finishing this Manta style or something.
I wouldn't.
I'm not sure.
I mean, usually Scotty is another decent item. Just feel like that might be a little bit too far off, because he also kind of has to save for buyback, right?
Somewhat. It depends on whether or not his team is saving for buyback. If nobody else is saving for buyback, then I don't think there's really any point. Something that he could consider would maybe be to get like just a straight up butterfly at this point. More damage. Like you mentioned, the Scotty's not bad, but I just don't feel like he's ever going to be able to man fight this game. Dagger also certainly not bad for being able to jump into the back lines and try and kill off Oracle, but it's just the Oracle, unfortunately. FY is actually really tanky and super disruptive with the Armlet and the Yule Scepter online.
And I mean, if worst comes to worst, DDC can ulti himself. Obviously not what you want to do, but it is a possibility. And the other thing we didn't really talk about all that much is Fate's Edict kind of owns Morphlene's shotgun build.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's fast enough, and now that he's got the Aether Lens as well, he can stay so far away and still get all of his spells off.
Yeah, that's very frustrating indeed. Ajit here is going to be looking for a quick jump, and is going to be able to do a lot of damage to Mikasa there, but BKB pops. Yeah, they're just out. But that's still defensive.
Yeah, still a 9-second BKB expended. Gives them some kind of right here. Okay, the Jug spent gold. What's he got? It is going to be, looks like straight up flat for him.
Okay. That being said, it is still a little bit of a scary situation as they jump onto Nana. Cold Embrace is there. The Torrent ship combo is going to come out and maybe also going to be able to find the kill. There's the Winter's Curse. It's going to be onto Mikasa, still keeping him alive for the moment. End is still up there front and center and starting to do a decent chunk of damage. 2 heroes already just eviscerated. So they don't kill off Nana, but they do bring down those 2 supports.
Alright, so he's just gonna have to go and farm. There's really no way that they can fight. It looks like Morphlene's trying to poke his nose forward and just get some random pick off as they keep pushing in, but they'll still need to be a little bit careful. Anna, that's your butterfly!
Oh god, no! That was not supposed to go like that, and now maybe you're gonna be able to get a bash, possibly. Oh god, Nana in trouble, ran down, and maybe gonna be able to find that kill. He throws out the Omni Slash, doing a lot of damage to Mikasa, but they are just gonna be able to run away for the moment, and he does fall. Oracle getting the kill. Meanwhile, on the other side, okay, Faceless Void drops to the Morphlane, so that's something going their way. But man, that really sucks.
That was a super disaster. you lose your courier, so your whole butterfly's gone. That's like your last. That's your last eternity of farm down the drain for a little bit, and then you get bashed. At least you get the little consolation prize at the end as you watched your Morphling shotgun the Void in the face.
And they don't have buyback on him either, so I'm a little bit surprised that VG.R aren't going for the Roche, but it looks like instead they might. Okay, I think that they thought they could get to the creep wave maybe, and I don't know. This feels like it'd be a really good timing for Roche since Jug is dead.
I'm not sure what they're doing right now. Looks like they're just gonna settle for shoving the lanes in and using the lanes as like to just guarantee that they get the Roche. Okay. They're gonna take the Roche on very quickly, and if you don't see anybody defending bottom and defending mid, then you know for sure that they're coming to try and fight you. So you could just back up, take the high ground, take the Ancients, and then wait until mid lane because it's already raxed, pushes in a little bit, and you kind of win the Roche on stalemate by default. And now we have a heart on Terrorblade.
Oh my god.
Man. 3.5k health worth of Terrorblade.
Oh no. This is terrifying indeed. Terrorblade, terrifying. Good stuff. Well, they're going to be able to get the Morphling, unfortunately, as he's going to just waveform away. FY is still rather quick. But
yeah, he wants to Yules to pop the Linkens and then X him so that his teammates can get here. He's actually keen on getting this kill, dragging his teammates over here right now.
Oh, and looks like they are going to be able to do it. There's the X. Oh, not going to be there in time.
That was really close. He was like mid-animation on the X marks the spot when he got the replicate out.
And Void now with the Blink online. Mikasa decided to take over a Mud Golem for that Hurl Boulder goodness. Wonderful to see that. Is there anything else? I mean, I just don't know how they're going to deal with this Terrorblade, honestly. Zaki and Afu are going to run into him, and now Afu just might end up going down. Oh no. He didn't even have to pop meta for that.
Nope.
This could potentially be it. I mean, you take a look. VG.Reborn ready to start storming the high ground, and over in the mid lane, they're going to end up doing a lot of damage onto Ajit. They pull him back with the X, and he doesn't have to replicate away, but still, fine for the moment. End and Mikasa are just going to hit away at this, and whoever gets jumped upon is going to be able to get false promised also. They don't have the Wyvern.
Yeah, they don't even have to save the Shadow Screen. He's got Aegis. It's fine.
Oh god, Zaki is... I mean, they send the Hurl Boulder Golem forward, and already the barracks are starting to fall. There's just no answer. They don't have the initiation. They don't have anything. There's nothing that they can do right here to stop VG.R from just exerting their will over them.
It's not like this Terrorblade pick was a surprise. I mean, VG.R, they put their cards on the table right at the start. They're like, Void Terrorblade, what you got? And Warriors Gaming&Unity just kind of came up empty-handed. I don't know. Their lineup is semi-cohesive, but I think it's very much focused around just getting this Morphling into a relatively late game position. But he's got a good score, but he just can't really fight into the VG.Reborn lineup.
Oh man, and I'm struggling to see the way in which Warriors Gaming end up taking this. Like, there's still tier 2s up on each of the side lanes, and Mikasa ended up going now back for those crits, and you're gonna here. Invisible FY finds Nana. They are gonna end up doing a decent chunk. He's forced to go for the Blade Fear away. Oh no,
they're gonna leave him alone. It's alright. His team's all here to help him.
Top lane. Maybe going to be able to catch out and kill off Ajit. He actually is in a decent amount of trouble. Can he get the replicate away? I guess he's still comfortable, but they dropped the Chronosphere onto him. He is still waveforming over, and he is going to be able to get out of there. Over in the river, a little bit of a battle of brewing. Mikasa, Aegis already down. The Omni Slash is going as well. Train it with FY. They are going to be able to find that kill, and now he's in a lot of trouble. Can they actually keep him alive here? The Heal Scepters just to lift him up. This is looking okay for Warriors Gaming&Unity, but now Terrorblade is in the midst of things and starting to think about running these heroes down. Can they actually find it? Nana running, not wanting to get caught. Juggernaut is going to be able to kill off Kunkka, but I think that that's going to be the end of it. Yang looking for a bash, but not finding it as of yet. Diffusal Blade slow, but the Blade Fury away.
He's out of charges.
Yeah, I that they're fine. He's just gonna end up
Unless he
running back.
bashes him.
Looking for the bash. Oh no! Nana slowed and now also getting chased down. That is almost gonna be a kill. Oh, good time walk away. But that's gonna be Juggernaut dead now. And for 80 seconds, buyback immediately. They're heading over towards this top lane of barracks. VG Gaming Reborn. They're gonna back out with that. And the Terrorblade picks up an E-Blade of his own.
It's a lot of stats. It really is. What he can probably. I don't think he can instantly kill the Winter Wyvern. That would be a bit much, but still a nice grab. If he's alone tanking an Omnislash, he could also just E-Blade himself or E-Blade an ally. The gem is still sitting over on this cliff where the Void killed the Batrider towards the tail end of that fight. So VG.R, all of their cores just look huge, and despite the fact that the Morphling and the Jug both have a lot of net worth, they just haven't really been able to do a whole lot. Like we saw the Jug spend that entire last team fight just chasing the FY Kunkka, and Kunkka's the 4 position. Like, what does it really matter that he ends up dying in the end? So this is looking very tough.
Then I mean, Shadow Blade on the Kunkka, he's gonna be able to push out these waves so rapidly. Maybe even gonna be able to kill off Apu if he steps too far forward. But yeah, it's feeling at this point like if they wanted to, they could just kind of go in along the top lane, but probably gonna wait out for that next Aegis, I would imagine, so they don't end up getting too scared. And on the sides of VG Gaming Reborn, they're just trying to push out, or excuse me, Warriors. I mean, they're just trying to push out this top lane. X throw out the ship as well, hits onto Afu, a decent chunk of damage, but Nana is here and gonna start to do the damage, but they already have able to catch with the Chronos here. A lot being expended, Nana falling low, they end up being able to take him down, and the Cold Embrace is gonna try and turn it, but it's not nearly enough. Oh no.
Jug for 100.
Oh my god.
That's it.
Well, the right clicks are coming down on the tier 4 towers, and another X combo onto Afu. They pull him back. Tier 4's fallen, and with that, I think that Warriors Gaming&Unity, they are going to be potentially eliminated from the tournament, as the side of VG Gaming Reborn are just all over them, and they are going to be able to keep End back for the moment, but everybody from the side of Warriors has gone down. GG finally gets called from Nana.
It was their second pick, wasn't it? They didn't do anything.
It was a rough one, that's for sure.
Like, I only... it was like 10 minutes ago, I kind of realized, like, oh wait, Batrider's in this game. 0-6. He tried, he really did. You know, he tried for the creep steal right at the start, but it was just a tough lane against a TB Oracle. They picked it early, but it just kind of got counterpicked and didn't manage to do anything. And those early heroes that you pick up in the drafts, those are the ones that are supposed to be super impactful, and you know, they really carry the lineup. You pick them despite the ability for the opponents to counterpick them to whatever degree they want, right? Like the Faceless Void and the Terrorblade were this game, but
yeah,
I never felt the Batrider at all for Warriors Gaming.
Well, an unfortunate series of events. Warriors Gaming&Unity now dropped out, and we're going to end up seeing how this goes as we finish off this lower bracket, but in just a little while now, we're going to move into the upper bracket, and Newbie facing off against Wings. Baseskip, I believe you're going to be heading out now. Thank you so much for joining. Any final thoughts? Where can people find you on the internet?
So if people want to follow me, then all my social media is just under the name of Baseskip. So Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube.